Hey everyone, welcome to TexAgs Rewind on the show. I don't think you'll see it on the clip, you might, but Debbie Gibson, Sinead O'Connor, he's a huge fan. Tiffany, new kids. Talking to the mic, he asked.
Oh, sorry, Dalton. I didn't know.
Who was your favorite of that group? Timmy T, come on.
The girl, the lead singer for the Bengals.
What was her name again? Suzanne?
Samantha Hoffs or Hoffs.
Yeah.
I think it's Hoffs.
Yeah, she was good. I'm trying to think who I liked. And back in those days, I was more doing the Bobby Brown thing. I was a big Bobby Brown guy.
Every little step I take.
What a song. And he rapped on it too.
I can't sleep at night. I toss and turn. Listening for the telephone. There's no telephones anymore.
No, there's no. And by the way, I tossed and turned leading up to the. No, I didn't toss and turn. But we talked about the Missouri game with OB during the go hour. Liucci never apologized for a win. Give me 5 seconds on that.
Yeah, look, sometimes there are sloppy, ugly wins. Going up 21-0, 3 possessions in, 28-7 at the half, and the game never getting closer than 14 points in the second half. It wasn't sloppy at all. It was a pretty emphatic win. Yes, A&M didn't completely close the door on them. That is something that I'm sure Jimbo and actually I've had some of the players in that have addressed that this week is something that they hope they could do. Talk about tossing and turning. As the fan in me, and also knowing what happens if Missouri rallies back to tie that game or it goes to overtime. By the way, it was never close to that, and that's my point. But if you're watching a game and you're up 21, and I'm not comfortable until like midway through the fourth quarter up 21 because you're going, they have the ball. If they score here, it's 14, and if they get a stop, it's just so college football is so stressful in terms of just because you do see wild momentum swings. We saw them a week ago against Bama, and then it ended up swinging A&M's way when it mattered most. So anyway, even in the blowouts, there's some stress, but make no mistake about it. That was a blowout game. That was about as easy as they come in the SEC.
We'll have that on the show. Around Aggieland with Richard Zane and the SEC Network's Peter Burns here on TexAgs Rewind. Good morning, OB.
Fatalist, maybe.
Fatalist?
I'm with you on a lot of that. I think what you should really take away from that win at Missouri is, not you, but, Aggies,
people,
is the old cliche about a good team wins when it doesn't play well. A&M, I don't think, played particularly well. I mean, they were good, but they could have been a lot better, and I think they would admit that.
Yep.
And they won on the road by 21 points. And, it's true that Missouri's not a great team, but, I mean, they're not completely incompetent, especially on offense. And I think there was some frustration maybe with the defense in some regard because they gave up a 97-yard drive. But a lot of that was helped. A lot of the defensive issues was, first of all, they only gave up 14 points. That's the bottom line.
That's right.
And part of that was boosted by some pass interference penalties that may or may not have been
they were bad,
debatable.
Yeah.
And then the offense. Here's the thing about that offense: they scored 35 points. People are upset with it. If they were on their B-plus game, they score 49, maybe more. You look like you're going to go up to a 28-0 lead. You get a big holding call that moves you back when you would have been at the 14. Okay, clean that up. And then you miss the field goal. And then just for the half, you look like you're going to go up 20, or it would have been 35-7.
Yes.
And you throw an interception. Well, the ball was thrown kind of behind on the inside shoulder, which allowed the safety to come over and undercut it. If you throw it out in front of the guy, if you don't underthrow it, it's a touchdown. Now you could say, well, why didn't you just keep running the football? And that's a good point. But the way the play call was actually a good call. You're going to score a touchdown.
Just wasn't executed.
Right. So, and then if Zach Calzada just relaxes a little more and completes the easiest passes that he has to throw, the throw that a competent high school quarterback is going to make, and I'm talking about the swing passes out into the flat,
Yep.
his numbers would have, I don't know what his numbers were.
I got them right here for you. 13 of 25, 148 yards.
Okay. If he just completes the little swing passes that are set up in the left flat and one a screen pass to the right where he overthrew A-Chain, completes those easy passes, he's probably, you said 13 of
25, 148.
then he's 17 of 25 for about
25 yards.
225 yards and maybe an extra touchdown.
Yeah, I agree. And
that should be the easiest thing that he's going to face to try to iron out, the easiest wrinkle iron out.
well, that's why with my lead, I kind of wanted to go into and kind of remember where we were sitting and what we were thinking 3 weeks ago, even in the New Mexico game. And by the way, I find a lot of similarities with the New Mexico game and the Missouri game because we wanted more, and that's what happened here. We wanted more. I think the best thing and worst thing that happened to the Aggies is they got up 21-0 before they could blink, right? And that changed the way you thought that game was going to go. Oh, we're going to beat them 56-10. That was the feeling. There's this fantasy football mentality, just not take your foot off the brakes and just accelerator, and just go, go, go. And they were not able to do that. But a couple weeks ago, we weren't sure he could complete passes. There was a time where easy passes and running the ball at all was difficult. We've seen now 3 straight weeks where the running game is working. We've seen 3 straight weeks where the offensive line has improved. We've seen 3 straight weeks where Calzada, one amazing game against Alabama. He's been fine as a game manager.
Nobody apologizes for SEC wins, and I think everybody was pretty happy. I think the consensus from talking to the guys on Sunday and the way I felt as well, like watching it was just like a little frustration of, God, we left so many points on the board, could have put those guys, really put them away, and I think that was the only part of it where you go, okay, look, this is when you get a chance to put a team away, because that could have gotten closer. Like they go 14 plays, 97 yards to cut it to 14, and then Calzada gets sacked for a 17-yard sack where he's got to throw that thing away, and they didn't pick a guy up, and all of a sudden you're 3rd and 7, or I think they got it back to 3rd and 17. And you're 3rd and 17, about to send it back to them, then they'd have the ball with a chance to cut it to a score. And that's when you bring a sleepy crowd in, and you look up and you go, uh-oh, they weren't expecting this, and yet here we are with 15 minutes left or something like that. So you teased with letting that happen, but then credit A&M. Calzada makes the throw, and Nias makes the catch. They score a few plays later, the game's over. But they could have ended that game really with a score before half, and they had it 1st and 10 on the 28. And then they got the ball back to start the third quarter, could have ended it again. And it really could have been 42-7, one drive into the third quarter. You could have emptied the bench. You had some guys get banged up late. I don't think it's anything serious, but it could have been, so you, again, finish a team off when you can. And more than that, too, I think the execution, probably you just walk away feeling a lot better about the way maybe you executed in the passing game. And, you take away a 97-yard drive by your defense and you walked away going, man, that was a pretty incredible performance by the A&M defense. So,
all right, young Richard, what is happening around this beautiful city?
Okay, so on Saturday afternoon, Texas A&M football won their first true road game of the season, beating Missouri 35-14. 2 100-yard rushers, Isaiah Spiller and Devon A-Chain. Aniyah Smith caught 2 touchdowns, his 14th and 15th in his career, entering the top 10 in program history in career touchdown receptions. For their performances, the following Aggies have been nominated for SEC Player of the Week honors. The winners will be announced at 11 a.m. today. Isaiah Spiller, Kenyon Green, Aaron Hansford, DeMarvin Leal, and Tyreek Chappelle. With the victory, A&M's moving up in the polls. They are now ranked 17th in both the AP 17th in the, I have a misprint here, 17th in both the AP and the coaches poll. And we'll hear from Jimbo Fisher, DeMarvin Leal, Isaiah Spiller, and Jalen Preston later this afternoon at the weekly media availability. The entire press conference will be covered on TexAgs.com and at TexAgs on Twitter. In soccer news, Texas A&M and Alabama tied on Friday night. 2 10-minute overtime periods, not enough to find a golden goal winner. Barbara Oliveri scored the Aggies' only goal in the game, her 4th of the season, coming off of assists from Mia Ponte and Miley Hayes. The Aggies travel to Starkville on Thursday night. They'll face Mississippi State. Kickoff is set for 6 o'clock p.m. on the SEC Network. On Saturday afternoon, the volleyball team traveled to Gainesville. They were swept by the 23rd-ranked Florida Gators. However, Trayana Rush posted a season-high 11 kills on a .476, a ridiculous .476 hitting percentage. They'll travel to Starkville this weekend for a pair of matches, a back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. In swimming and diving, both the men's and the women's teams fell to Texas this weekend. The number 16 ranked men's team falling to the top-ranked Longhorns 185-107, with the number 21 women's team falling to the 5th-ranked Longhorns 180-112. They're off for a little while. Both teams will be back in action on November the 5th, a dual meet with TCU at the Rec Center Natatorium here in Aggieland. That is also going to be an alumni weekend for the Aggies, so that'll be a fun event for them across the street. Men's tennis playing in the ITA Regional in Bryan College Station this weekend had a couple players advance to the semifinals before falling. Noah Schachter and Rafael Pro both fell to TCU Horned Frogs. And then in doubles play, you had the pairing of Austin Abrat and Noah Schachter fall to the TCU pairing of Louis Maxted and Pedro Vives in the semifinals there. They're traveling to Columbia on October the 28th to play in the South Carolina Invitational. On the women's side, the doubles pairing of JC Goldsmith and Tatiana Markarova still alive in the ITA Texas Regional. They're playing in the semifinal right now, actually. First serve was at 9 o'clock. They're facing a pairing from Texas. Should they win, they'll advance to the final, which is set for noon today. Cross-country news, they ran in the Arturo Barrios Classic here in Bryan College Station on Saturday, and both the men's and the women's finished in the top 5. The field included 35 teams, so it was pretty loaded. The men's team finished 5th with Eric Casares finishing 2nd. The women finished 4th with Julia Black taking 14th in the 6K. They'll travel to the SEC Championships Friday, October the 29th in Columbia, Missouri. Equestrian fell to number 8 Baylor 12-7 on Friday, but Devin Thomas earned most outstanding performer for her career ride that helped the Aggies earn a point. They'll travel to Columbia, South Carolina for another top 10 matchup against South Carolina on Friday. Women's golf is playing in the Jim West Challenge right now in San Marcos. Adela Kernausek led the Aggies through 2 rounds, finishing at 9th. And then softball, you've got a pair of games on Wednesday, a doubleheader with Temple College at Davis Diamond.
All right, that is Richard Zane with Around Aggieland.
Jimbo needs to just stomp it out. I mean, I assume that's why he got the money beforehand, is they knew that this might be a phone call that Scott Woodward might make to Jimbo and just kick the tires going, hey, listen, I probably have something, and I'm sure Jimmy Sexton, his agent, went to Ross Bjork. I'm just assuming at that point, because that'd be smart business to say, listen, let's do this deal before the phone calls come and you have to pay more. They decide, all right, let's go ahead and do it because, I mean, and look what would happen. Remember John Gruden had all these rumors about him going to Tennessee?
Yeah.
And it was just embarrassing because he was never going to go there, yet he wanted his name in the limelight, so he did not stamp those rumors out, and neither did Tennessee as well, and
True.
It led to just a debacle of a head coaching search. So Jimbo owes it to Aggie fans and the Aggie faithful today to say there's zero chance I will be the coach at LSU coming up, and that way you can just move on with the rest of the season of recruiting.
Yeah, exactly, and you just in one sentence summed up what we spent about 15 minutes talking about. Hey, let me ask you this, just before we go into what happened in the SEC this past weekend, and there was so much of it, but give me one name, either give me your best odds guy or give me somebody that you think LSU should look at, or give me an off the radar, like we don't hear this name enough, but if I were LSU fans, I'd keep an eye on him.
First phone call I make, and this is not any inside information, this is just me being an LSU fan, born and raised in Baton Rouge, is to Brian Kelly at Notre Dame and make him say no.
Good. Hey, so now you need to like.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
One day I'll remember
That's
how
all right.
you come back.
So what are we supposed to do? Like, subscribe, comment, and also sign up for the alerts.
Smash the
Have you
button.
watched it on YouTube yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good
I
times.
enjoy it.
Big fans. Good show.
Well, I really do like it. I think it's a great thing we're doing. I think it's awful that we have to go with the music that you've convinced the listeners to start liking. I refuse to like the Flash Gordon / Napoleon Dynamite Tron music that we have to hear, but I can't get with it.
It's so good.
I can't. It's like I don't know what to call it other than like go watch it. If you're younger and you're watching, go watch the movie Flash Gordon. It's like that, or it's like Napoleon Dynamite, like Uncle Rico while he's taking like the glamour shots.
Yeah.
By the way, Napoleon Dynamite might be like 15 years old by now too.
Already?
Yeah, I'll bet you money. It's 15 years old.
It's TexAgs Rewind.
Why don't you eat all the chips, Kip?